It's time to cover Solo Leveling Season 2 Episode 8 PV stuff from Mr. A Boy Dude Reviews. Let's check out what's gonna be happening.
Spoilers for Solo Leveling Season 2 Episode 7. You have been warned. Oh my gosh, Saturday's episode was absolutely fantastic. Yes, I know that even despite there being a lack of action sequences, it made up for a lot of character growth. While I do love the action animation in Solo Leveling, I am also here for the drama, the character growth, and the world building.
I care more about that, to be honest. Episodes like this one where it's more downtime, interacting with different characters, seeing what everyone else is up to, having other people's reactions to Jinwoo's debut. Stuff like that I always love. That's why in One Piece, after all of the crazy fights in the major arc resolution is over, there's always that one chapter where the bounty goes out, right? The seagulls are dropping the news, the bounties across the world. People are realizing what the Straw Hat Pirates have done, and it just kind of like they're like glazing and they get to get hyped up about that, right? Kind of felt like one of those episodes, right, where people are just like experiencing Jinwoo for the first time, S rank, shock throughout everywhere. I love that, like maybe even more than action episodes,
which this anime does a great job at doing. They also did a great job at adapting the manhwa. A huge shout out to @SoloLevelAnime on X. As
I kind of wish that Manager Wu's demon aura eyes was present. Like in the anime, it was great. Anime one, it was solid. He does his typical glasses down flex. But like in the manhwa, bro, what the hell is this? It looks like bro's been possessed by the Shadow Monarch.
On X, as well as El Posito for posting these manhwa versus anime comparisons. While I must admit that there are one or two shots where the manhwa has more detail and intensity, the overall episode was faithfully adapted, keeping the spirit of the manhwa while adding its own extra flair. This one shot of the flying ant, oh my, it looks absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, the ant details, the shading over here, right? It looks solid. It looks so fucking angry too.
In the anime version. Go check out my full review for Season 2 Episode 7 of Solo Leveling, but while we wait for Saturday, we don't have to wait too long to see some new scenes. For the upcoming episode, we get a new tease into what Season 2 Episode 8 will look like.
Damn, screenshot 19 seconds ago. Notifications on.
According to these new preview images, which were released by the official Solo Leveling X account. As I talk about these images, I'll be giving my own thoughts and theories. I am an anime only, so my theories may or may not come true. Please avoid giving any manhwa spoilers, but
impossible. Nice angle here. Anime onlys, sorry. Manhwa source material readers, try not to spoil them and try to gatekeep and try to attention whore in the comment section. Impossible. That's why it's never a good idea to read comments. Unless you want to get spoiled, man.
But if you want to, add a spoiler warning in front of the comments so that myself and anime onlys like me don't get spoiled reading those comments. First up, the first new preview image scene is of Guild Master Troy.
He looks very concerned doing this pose. Intense shading, look of concern in his eyes. I'm gonna guess that he got news about the red ant. Like the ants have made contact, because every time, anytime he's been shown, he's kind of like dealing with like behind the scenes stuff with like the Jeju ant raid, right? Planning. So I'm gonna guess that he's received news that ants have made contact. Or maybe he's getting news that Jinwoo does not want anything to do with his guild and he's sad about it.
And the dude is so well drawn in this scene. I'm loving the shadows, I'm loving his confidence look in his eyes. In last week's episode,
does he look confident? To me, this is a look of concern. He looks serious. And because of the way that the art is portraying the seriousness with great amount of shading details, I think that you could think that it's confidence, but to me, this looks like a look of concern
in his eyes. In last week's episode, Troy went through a range of emotions. He went from acting all goofy around the White Tiger Guild leader Yeonhu to looking incredibly horrified at the sight of Jinwoo's powers. So maybe this new preview image is of him thinking about White Tiger Guild leader Yeonhu and thinking, damn, Jinwoo really struck fear into his heart. But another theory of mine
Could be. I'm still gonna stick with the ant stuff or Jim Woo basically not giving him any attention.
Is the flying ants. There have indeed been multiple scenes of Troy talking
That's
to
right.
people about the flying ants.
He's like the main dude that we always get whenever the ant stuff is being talked about behind the scenes.
Was talking to the leader of the surveillance team on getting an update regarding the flying ants, and Guildmaster Choi will finally get an update regarding the flying ants. Speaking of the flying ants, we did see that scene of the
That water scene is so stunning. This art here, oh my god.
flying ant flying across the moon, and I did like that scene because it was some sort of parallel to what Jinwoo was saying. He was talking about how I'm going to use my powers to try and clean up the city.
True. With the ants pulling up and Jim also having a moment of, all right, Shadows, go beat Batman. Yeah, there's a connection.
Almost like he is some sort of vigilante like Batman, while the flying ant was just hovering above him, more or less casting a shadow over Jinwoo. I feel like the flying ant is going to be one of the final main bosses in season 2. Maybe Jinwoo is going to fight this part.
Yeah, I wonder how this ant is going to be dealt with. There's no way those two fodder dudes are going to be able to fight this ant and survive. And like, I think the ants are getting stronger and stronger. Like, it's probably safe to assume that the ants that we saw in the beginning of season 1 with those S-rank hunters fighting them, I bet that the flying one is stronger, right? They're like evolving. They're like becoming smarter, stronger. It's scary to think about it, right? The ants are like mutating, adapting, becoming stronger. Could this alone be like a little boss on its own? Maybe. I didn't put that much emphasis on this one because it just, to me, it just looks like a, you know, regular ant minion number 1087. But like, it would be crazy if this thing just like causes havoc and is like the final boss of season 2. We'll see how it goes.
Particular ant in the finale of season 2, but then it's going to be revealed that, oh, he was just one out of many of these flying ants. Maybe this flying ant is nothing more than a subordinate, and maybe one of—
That's what I'm thinking. I think that as well as it's drawn, I don't think this is like a boss ant. I think that this is the new standard. The base ant of the Jeju Island. They all have wings.
the final bosses is the Ant King. Just my theory. The second new preview image is
Igris.
of our boy Igris. As we all know, in the previous episode, Sung Jin Woo was about to fight this mysterious armored warrior.
I think that's still a girl, bro. If you go look at the opening of the anime episodes, do I have the episode here? Hold up. Let's see it. Let's see it. Ah, I do. All right. I'll show you. Just to prove that I'm not schizo, okay? Play the opening. Now, the hard part is trying to find exactly the one frame where she... So, when we first saw the opening, and we knew about the demon castle, this area, we're like, is this a new waifu? What's happening? You got a new demon girl? If you look at the ear, right? If you look at the ear armor too, the armor literally has the slot for her ear. And based on this person's movement, it looks very feminine, right? Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm being misogynistic for calling this person, this being walking backwards in shock, feminine. But the body posture, the language, it felt more like a girl than a guy. I feel like this thing is gonna be the demon girl in the opening, and that's why it was intentionally not killed off, even though 3 of her comrades were wiped off.
Igris and this armored warrior both have a similar hairstyle.
True. Well, I don't know if that's necessarily hairstyle, but more of armor. Because if we, again, assume that this is the demon girl in the opening, she clearly does not have the red hair, right? I think that this is more of aesthetics of the armor.
I wonder if there is some sort of connection between these two. I know they are part of different dungeons, but will defeating this warrior have an effect on Jin Woo's mentality?
We would really need to see what's under Igris's armor. Nobody knows, right? Because like we're judging the armor design, right? Igris does kind of look like this. Like whenever I saw this design for the first time, I was like, yo, this armor low-key like Igris. Even the red hair part, right? But what's underneath? Could we theorize that Igris is like a demon? I don't know about that.
Back in season 2 episode 11, after he defeated Igris, the dude immediately fought off a horde of new enemies. The dude was pushed to his limits and he ended up thinking about his own younger
Like maybe Igris like shows up and makes contact with her and realizes and be like, hey, what's going on? Steps. Igris has his own sister leveling moment. Oh, step bro, what's going on?
Self, being reminded of how weak he was. I do wonder if these warriors with the red hair are some sort of bad omen. Jinwoo was pushed to his limits in that episode. Maybe Sung Jinwoo gets another existential crisis like he did.
I don't think he will. Because the crisis happening here was when he was really fucked up. Having an internal monologue, right? About his lack of strength and how he basically got lucky. He's wiping the floor with these demon soldiers, right? Immediately pulled up, triple kill, and now he's saying, hey, can you feel fear? Oh, it looks like you do. To me, I feel like, if anything, the demon people might be having this kind of moment, bro.
Back in season 2 episode 12, where he starts recalling his younger self, berating him and telling him how weak he is once again. It's just a theory of mine. The reason why I say that Jinwoo may have another existential crisis is because of this new third preview image.
Okay.
Jinwoo looks so mad in this shot. The shadow under his eyes, the eerie purple orbs floating around him. The dude looks like he's been pushed to a corner. He's
pushed to a corner? Maybe. I don't see much, injuries on him. Maybe his shadow got wiped out. Maybe the demon monarch pulled up, right? Maybe the demon dudes are really strong. Maybe the warriors that we're fighting right now are actually not that elite. And something crazier is happening. But yeah, this is definitely a look of concern.
not smiling anymore. In the last episodes, the last few frames of season 2 episode 7 were of him smiling down at the mysterious master warrior, feeling so cocky and confident. But now we don't see that same look in his eyes.
True.
Maybe he misjudged the entire situation, and maybe he has to pull out all the stops, go above and beyond. But despite him having Igris, Iron and Tusk on his side, will it be enough to defeat these two enemies? As the 4th and 5th images are of this
Whoa! Dragon-like. I don't know if it's necessarily really a dragon, but dragon-like here.
silver dragon with red eyes and this Goliath of a beast with red eyes. I feel more intimidated by this one character than the dragon. The dragon seems to be some sort of puppet of his. My theory is that this is the main boss of the demon castle, and that's golden.
Yeah, maybe this is the demon monarch. I mean, the sub says demon monarch, but I'm gonna assume that there's some sort of, end game demon boss, right? This thing honestly looks like a jacked minotaur with long ass horns, but all right. The art here doesn't really look that good, but I think it's because this is just like a one-off frame, right? Not like a really important frame to show, right? A lot of the silhouette being shown here, kind of like very simple details here going on. Cool weapon, but yeah, maybe this guy's the real deal, man.
And that golden warrior that was walking back away from Jinwoo in the previous episode is nothing more than a second in command, as some sort of subordinate to the Demon Castle King. Whatever the case is, I am hyped for episode 8 of season 2 solo leveling. But I also have a few more theories.
Oh, we already have this thing in the opening fighting. There it is. You want to see more of that guy? Here it is. He's literally in the opening.
That I think is going to happen in this episode. While I feel like the majority of the episode will
Damn, this thing going fucking crazy right now.
be Jinwoo against the demon.
But I think this is obviously I think that we're definitely gonna be fighting it, but I don't think this is gonna be the actual scene, right? It's one of those like fake visuals. You know what I mean? In the anime opening. Rather than showing you the actual thing, you just get like a little fan fiction animation happening, right? Just kind of to like tease the audience.
Castle King, I can't stop thinking about what Yeonhu talked about Jinwoo in the previous episode. He said something that sent a shiver down my spine.
That's right, he figured it out. Not just second awakening, but progressively getting stronger over and over again.
What if he's not a reawakened hunter, but one capable of getting stronger over time? I feel like that question has more or less been answered by the Ice Elves and Carligan, as when they sensed Jinwoo, they were like, this guy isn't a human. Reawakened hunters in this hunter association have a good idea on how one develops as a reawakened hunter, but
remember, reawakening means that you jump a rank, but that's it. you are static. You have no more growth. You jump from one level to a next. That's it. Jinwoo's doing something different. Why? Because the system. He's solo leveling. Only he gets to level up. That is literally the Korean literal translation of this show. Rather than solo leveling, it's 나 혼자 level up. Is like only I level up.
But Yeonwoo is incredibly puzzled by Jinwoo, as Sung Jinwoo seems to be developing far more than your ordinary reawakened hunter. The armored magical beast in episode 7 of season 2 was walking back in fear as they saw Jinwoo's powers. It is incredibly rare to see a magical beast in these dungeons show fear, showing us the insane amount of power Jinwoo has acquired over the past few weeks.
Also, Jinwoo just being an absolute just maniac. Like, the source material, not the webtoon, but the web novel. Apparently, the character is more like Ayano Koji from Class from the Elite, doing the most fucked up, like, mental torture onto enemies and even, like, kind of allies alike. Remember that one healer girl back in the Tusk arc? A healer girl on our side that gave us the will? Jinwoo was mocking her. He was straight up roasting her.
Maybe this armored warrior is starting to look at Jinwoo as one of their own. As the stronger he gets, the less human he becomes. What if the end of the series is Jinwoo slowly morphing into a magical beast?
I like that. I actually like this theory. Not rage bait. Because this directly works with what Dad was saying. Sung Il-won, what did he say to Hwang Dong-soo in the interview? In the interrogation. Dong-soo was like, yo, we got a shitload of hunters. We don't have to worry about, we don't have to worry about them. And then Dad was like, nah, that's the thing. All your hunters will be devoured and used against you. What kind of powers is that? Sounds like the Shadow Monarch to me. And I'm thinking like the Shadow Monarch is a title. Maybe there used to be previous Shadow Monarchs. I don't know. Based on Tusk's, talk. Remember when Tusk was about to die, but like, why are you here? Then why are we here? What the fuck, right? It's almost as if he already knew. I'm thinking that maybe there is this actual being known as the Shadow Monarch. And it's just like giving Jinwoo the powers. And later on, we'll just like overconsume him. Just like what a Boy Do Review is saying by turning into a magical beast. You know what I'm saying?
Showing no human emotions. We know Chai Hai-in, the dancer, is also quite stunned by Jinwoo's lack of stench. Maybe she's not smelling him as a human. And speaking of the dancer, she had a very strange reaction to Jinwoo being the 10th ranker. At first, I thought she was quite calm, as she knows that Jinwoo has a huge amount of strength. She wasn't surprised by this news, but maybe she's starting to grow fearful of Jinwoo. Yes, I know that she...
Fearful? I don't know about that. Her look was not smiling, but a look of like confirmation of like, yup, I guess you really were him. I mean, obviously she already saw the power, so it was obvious. But the look, the reaction that she had when looking at the TV screen obviously was not a blush, was not like an excited look, but more of like a very serious confirmation look.
She was blushing over him in the previous episode, but now she seems to have a colder look in her eyes. Maybe she too is also seeing Jinwoo as neither a human nor a monster, but something
I don't know too much about that.
Something else entirely. Maybe she was told that any humans who don't stink could indeed be connected to the magical beasts and the dungeons, and...
Told by who, though? I mean, we could be cooking here somewhere. But to me, this scene just looks like a serious confirmation, rather than her being suspicious that Jinwoo is like a different being entirely.
May have to be eliminated. Will Chai Hai-in have to execute Jinwoo if he goes too far down the dark path? Who knows?
I could definitely see something like that though, where remember, main character turns all edgy, falls into the power of darkness, and then, waifu has to be there and ground him. So Hein could be that force to retain his humanity.
We just got to wait and see. I do think it's a little bit obvious that Jinwoo will acquire not just the Silver Dragon, but also the Golden Armored Warrior.
Acquire, but he can't. Demons cannot be arised, unfortunately, which is one of the most annoying things because there's so many strong minions in this demon castle, but none of these we can add to our collection.
And this demon castle king, I feel like once he eventually acquires those powers and he finally gets the third and final ingredient for the elixir of life, he will finally be able to use that to help his mom. But
there's also Jinho's dad, His dad is also getting fucked up with the eternal sleeping disease. Do we have enough elixirs to help both of them?
But will it be enough? I did say in the previous episode that may not actually work on ordinary humans, but those who live in the dungeons or connected to them, i.e.
Nah, because we know that we have a direct example in season 1 of us threatening a dude, Manager An, from the White Tiger Force, right? Jinmu basically slit him when he was, being annoying and said, listen, I'm going to give you these conditions. I have a potion, right? The potion, I think, is no different from the elixir because these are both in-game items. And the fact that an in-game item had an effect on somebody outside a dungeon proves that the elixir will most likely work the same.
Jinwoo, possibly his father, and all of the demons inside those dungeons. If it doesn't work, then Jinwoo will possibly go down deep into despair. Like I said before, maybe he slowly morphs into a magical beast, one that Chai, Hai In, and the S-Rankers have to defeat. Maybe Jinho, his new bro, will possibly be the key to helping him out, as his own father is also suffering through the same disease as Jinwoo's mom. Maybe Jinho loses his father from the disease, and maybe him and Jinwoo's connections of loss may be the key to saving Jinwoo and bringing him from the dark side to the light. But
I still think it's gonna be more Chaein. I don't think Jinho the little bro is going to be the thing grounding him. I think that I mean as like the most significant thing, little bro definitely could have a play in it though. I don't think the dad or the mom is gonna die. I think the potion, the elixir will work because we saw a direct example of what happened. But in terms of falling more into the dark side, it's clearly a thing that's been happening over and over as Jinmu continues to kill more and more. As he continues to become more stronger, I think that what he said about Jinmu eventually turning into a magical beast, the details obviously we're not saying one for one, but something about him become like a final boss that dad also heavily implied. Maybe I'm wrong, but the way that the dad was explained to Dongsu, it just sounded like Jinmu, the Shadow Monarch, is the final endgame boss of this show.
But who knows, it's just a theory of mine. But overall, I love these new preview images. They have truly hyped me up for what is potentially going to be a great episode, according to...
I think it's going to be even more than great. This is going to be another priority episode. Maybe the story itself isn't that hype like episode 6 with Jinmu saving everybody. But since this is going to have Takeuchi showing up, and since we're going to have an elite roster of talent working on this specific episode, production value itself, objectively, just could be way better in episode 6.
To manhwa readers, will my theories come true or not? We just got to wait and see. But tell me in the comments down below what...
You already heard my thoughts. Please go check out Mr. A Boy Dude Reviews channel. Here's the link to the video. Go like the video, sub to his channel if you want. I'll see you next time.